Hello, welcome to this podcast of Opine Group. And today we have a very interesting topic, and mostly for all those people who are already into your managerial level. Yes, generally we start our career in the operations and then you go to supervisory functions and then you are at the strategic level of your organization, and which is where people actually start to get many different views and they often get jumbled and get into this chaotic state. We are going to talk about it, and for which we have with us Mr. Kedar Puranik with us. Kedar is actually working in this industry. He did his engineering actually, and not into IT, into civil engineering from the College of Engineering, Pune. Immediately after civil engineering, he decided to get back into IT. And in IT stint, he worked for many years into companies like Deloitte Consulting, Atos Consulting, and Tech Mahindra. He was at the peak of his career, and then he decided that I should get back technical. What exactly happened with him? We are going to talk with him. Welcome, Kedar.
Hi everyone.
So Kedar, I was just explaining our viewers that how you were into your civil engineering field. I know you were always a studious student actually, since you are, because I know you from your school days.
Yes.
And I would like to tell our viewers a little bit about how you decided you got into civil and then immediately decided to get into IT. Could you tell a little bit about that?
Sure. I completed my civil engineering in year 1990, and then I started working in civil engineering field. The obvious choice was to work as a site engineer. I was working with one of very renowned builders at that time in Pune. Started working as a site engineer, and I realized that whatever I learned in 4 years, none of that was actually required, on the job. Okay. What my parents told me not to do was everything that was required when I was doing job, like, using a lot of swear words, shouting at people, looking down upon them, making sure that, you treat them like laborers and make them work. Okay. I did that for about 6 months, and I was really frustrated, and I thought that if this is what I'm going to do till my retirement, I think that's not going to really work. And then that is when I started thinking of what could be the alternatives.
Okay.
Obviously, I was civil engineering graduate, so I did not have any choice to get into the mechanical industry or electronics or electrical industry or that kind of stuff.
Right.
So the choice was to get into IT. Now, in 90s, IT was very new field.
Absolutely.
There were absolutely handful of companies at that point of time. There was no real entry criteria as such into this industry.
Yeah.
And during my civil engineering days also, whenever we did some project work, when we did our final year dissertation and everything, we had interest in computer. I mean, my group, we had interest in computer. We had learned, few languages. Fortran was part of my curriculum, but we learned Pascal and C at that point of time. I had also learned AutoCAD, which was a designing software. So I had some inclination of computers.
Right.
And then I said, okay, then why not, sort of start making career in this? And that's when I got serious about it. I then decided to do my post-graduation in master's in computer management.
Okay.
That was also a very recent course launched by Pune University at that time. So I joined that course. I completed my MCM.
And I believe that was while you were working.
That was while I was working, correct.
Okay.
And the work was also in computers. I mean, I started my small business myself. Which was mostly in doing some small software development. There were softwares like Foxbase and DBase. Probably, our viewers may not even have heard about those, softwares. So I started doing some small software development and mostly training.
Great. So Kedar, actually, I now can clearly see how you got into this.
Yeah.
And I know you have 35 years of experience now. So about first 25 years of experience or even lesser than that got you into the supervisory manager role actually.
That's correct.
Could you please tell me how that journey went So you learned, is what I heard,
Yes.
all the technicalities, and very soon you kind of went to those heights.
Yes.
How was that journey?
Sure. So, obviously when I started the IT, work itself was all technical at that time. So I learned new technologies, new databases and stuff like that. And I was doing programming, then database administration, then some, UI development, backend development. So all kinds of developmental projects is what I worked on, various different technologies. I consider technology as no bar. Whichever technology, project required, I always decided, okay, I will learn it. I will not say no,
Correct.
that, I don't work on this technology or that. Okay. I always kept myself open that I will learn that technology and get into it. And that is what continued till about 6 or 7 years. The initial 6-7 years, I was pure technical. Then came a choice where I had to decide whether I want to remain technical or I want to get into the management. The reason being, in late 90s, if you had to make career progression in IT, if you wanted to get promotion, if you wanted to get good salary and that kind of stuff, then you had to get into management positions. Okay. So it was not really by choice, but by compulsion, that if you wanted good money, good promotion, good perks, you had to get managerial.
Seniority by age, basically.
Absolutely. Seniority by age, and then more about your interpersonal skills, about coordinating with your customers, coordinating with your teams, coordinating with your own management. And I was good at communication. I was good at interpersonal skills, and that's how then I sort of moved into that. It was very smooth and automatic progression for me from technical into management.
Sure.
And that continued for next almost 20 odd years.
Wow. Okay, that's huge.
Yeah.
So you got settled into strategic. Can I say that?
Yeah, absolutely. You can say that, because then I started managing larger projects. Then moved into a role where I had to manage multiple such project managers, and then over next 8, 10, 15 years, it was mostly coordinating with people, coordinating with various different stakeholders, understanding customer needs, understanding what management would want from this project, understanding people perspective, how they are skilled, are they not skilled, how to get them up to speed. So it was all about administration, management, coordination.
And then I believe those days everybody started getting global. So probably coordinating with people from different geographies.
Absolutely.
Maybe you could have traveled also, I guess.
Yes, I traveled a lot. I actually was in the UK for about 4 years. And, after I came back also, the traveling did not stop.
Sure.
I traveled a lot in Middle East, to the UK, of course, because, almost half of my career was with Tech Mahindra.
Right.
So obviously UK was like a, second home.
Oh.
And I used to travel a lot over there. Then when I joined Deloitte, obviously that was primarily the US based company.
Correct.
And hence I continued traveling to US, a little bit towards Southeast Asia, Malaysia, Singapore and stuff like that. So traveling did not stop, coordination did not stop.
Sure.
That made us work in multiple time zones, so you are 24/7 awake and working,
So I can now clearly understand. So being at the strategic heights of your career and a student, very studious, which I heard in the beginning, and somebody who liked IT, even though IT was not your core topic.
That's true.
And very core technical work for the first 8 years. And your good communication skills got you to the height of the
Correct.
strategic work.
Yes.
I have started myself seeing a dilemma here, whether to stay technical or stay strategic. Did you
Right.
face something like that?
Oh, big time, because and this is something that people around our age who started their IT careers in early 90s to mid 90s, they would relate to, because IT peaked somewhere in 2008, 2010, around that time.
Right.
And after the 2008 global meltdown, with the big US banks really going bankrupt and everything, IT budgets, they started sort of becoming very tight. And that is when the customers started questioning why you have managers on your team.
Right.
Okay, why you have people who actually cannot contribute technically or functionally, why they are there. And then we started explaining them, okay, you need, there are big teams, you need coordination, you need, they said, yeah, we understand all of that, but we don't want to pay for that.
Correct.
It's your problem. Don't charge us for those kind of activities. That also continued for some time because IT was still, that the billing was still very high. Even though the budgets were crunched, the billing rates were still good, and you could afford to keep, a little top heavy kind of teams,
right,
where you have got a bunch of people who are doing coordination, management, and relationship management. Absolutely. And stuff like that. But when in another 2 years, when even the billing rate started going down, and then companies like the service providers like Tech Mahindra or Infosys, they started questioning that, okay, why I'm paying this guy.
Sure.
Okay, he does not understand the technology.
Sure.
He does not understand the functionality because he does not have time. His time is spent in coordination and everything.
Sure.
Do I really have value for these people?
Yeah.
And that was the dilemma, that what I should do. Choice was to keep on jumping the jobs, right? Go somewhere, work for 2 years, and then those people start questioning you, you move away.
Correct.
Or, value add, create some value add yourself, and say that, okay, I can do this, but I can also add value at the core of delivery.
Because I'm sure because you're explaining this situation, and yeah, it was the situation then, and you got to know that situation because you were in the strategic.
Exactly.
And now again, you were technical also.
Yes.
It's not that you were not technical.
Yes.
So did it ever, buy the childlike happiness? Did you feel like going back to that technicality to get the enjoyment out of
Absolutely.
that?
Absolutely. The choice was to get functional or to get technical, and it was easy choice for me, right? Technology is also something always, like, even though I was management, I kept some touch with the technology. I never did anything hands-on for about 20 years. Okay.
Right.
But I used to, read a little bit about the advancement in the technology, like how client-server architecture has now changed to cloud and stuff like that. So I kept in the know, right? But I did not do anything hands-on. I had never seen, those environments. I had never had logins and stuff like that. But I used to ask questions to my technical team people, saying, "Ye kaise hota hai? How does this happen?" And so I generally knew that, okay, these are the changes in the technology, and it's very difficult. It's a different world now as far as technology is concerned. When I started and when I'm thinking of getting back into the technology. But yes, technology was always the choice. And as you said, it was like a happiness. If I do something technical, if I do design, get into designing discussions or get into technology development, it was fun.
So I can now understand. Thanks for sharing all this input.
Sure.
And it's like, you're helping us traverse the entire career
Yes,
path.
absolutely. That's correct.
Now at that point, when you are in job and you have started sensing, hey, I was technical at a point of time. What did you exactly do to get back technical?
Okay, that's a great question. Now, I had to first of all decide that technology had advanced so much, and there were so many different platforms, so many different technologies. So it was like a sea over there.
Sure.
Very easy to get confused. Where do I get back into now? Which technology I need to get back into? Right. So I had to decide first of all that which field I want to be. And then I decided to be in analytics because, my level of thinking, because, of my experience, I knew what management look at, right? Both the service provider management, so the supplier management as well as the customer management.
Sure.
So knew what they look for. So the strategic angle was built, I started thinking it like that. And then the choice was that how to use that understanding and club it with the technology where I will create a value to any new customer I would work with.
Sure.
And that's why I decided to get back into analytics. And once I decided to get back into analytics, then the choices of technologies were, comparatively easy.
And could you do that while you were working? Because, I know you were already multitasking.
Yeah.
How easy was that for you?
Well, it was both easy as well as difficult. easy because I wanted to do it. So if you wanted to do it, you will find the time.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you were compelled to do something, you will always find some excuse not to do it.
Right.
But since I wanted to do it, I found time to study. Actually, you know that I approached you and then said, okay, I want to do something in analytics. I knew that you are already doing something in analytics. So I asked you that, okay, it's something that I can learn from over here. And then I actually learned everything about analytics. I learned after 20-25 years into my career.
Yeah, I think your technical love for technology and your strategic understanding about the topic, and you have done that.
Correct.
So it could come very easy for you. And
Absolutely.
as I said, because you are very smart and you could put in your time.
Yeah.
So I definitely remember that period.
Correct.
But now while we are unfolding that, so you learnt it and did it because I know that you are still strategic in a way. We all see you as a senior professional.
That's right.
How has technology, after you have learned again, played a role in your this last 8 years of your 35 years? Your last 8 years, I would say, is techno strategic. Actually, you are a technology person as well as a strategic
person. Correct.
So,
correct. Because I learned the technologies which were in the now at that point of time, 8 years back. From 8 years back to today, also there are a lot of changes. But I learned something that was latest at that point of time. And I started practicing a lot, and then that is where I decided, okay, if I just practice myself, it's not really going to give me the real life flavor of how these technologies work, or what are the real life challenges when these technologies are actually used for implementing on the project. That's where I started working back on the project as an architect,
right?
And get purely into the technological angle of every project that I did. I did all those projects with Opine Group. So be it any customer, I always focused on the architecture part, that how I'm going to implement a particular technology to do whatever, whether it is a data warehouse development, whether it is building the analytical dashboards and things like that. How am I going to use this technology? How am I going to get myself into the management shoes for my customer?
Correct.
And how I'm going to use my experience and my new learning, put them together and give the customer what they want without really asking them too much. I had advantage of knowing how they would think. And that was a fantastic combination. It really helped in building the architecture, building the technical, building blocks of any project. And it also gave me opportunity to actually do a lot of hands-on thing.
Great.
On those projects, I did not just talk about the architecture or technical components and stuff like that. It was just not a guiding role. It was actually sitting with people and doing it myself. So that gave me the confidence that I can do it.
Yeah. So you were always strategic. Now, when you sit into the meetings, or you are putting together proposals, or selecting your team members, or helping them come up to the next levels, because you were technical and you were also strategic, it is even now helping.
Yeah.
Now, while doing so, learning never stops is what we used to say.
Yes.
And you have seen it over and over again.
Absolutely.
And being strategic and keeping yourself technologically updated, does it go hand in hand all the time now?
All the time, because the technologies keep changing. Certain things in IT, in project, they don't change, right? What needs to be done is not something that is changing. That's constant. Okay, so what part is constant? How to do it is changing every 6 months, every 9 months.
Sure.
Even when I started analytics, it was all on-premise kind of technologies.
Absolutely.
And in last 2-3 years, everybody's moving to cloud. And when it comes to cloud, it's even more complex, because at least when we were on premise, we knew that, okay, everything is Microsoft, right? It's a Microsoft server. It's a Microsoft, tools and technologies which you are going to use for doing data warehouse development or creating the dashboards. But when it comes to cloud, you could be working on Azure cloud, or you could be working on Amazon cloud, and you will still be doing something in Tableau,
Sure.
ASW. and on ASW you will have Microsoft SQL Server instance, and then you are going to use probably something like PySpark to do some ETL development.
Absolutely.
And once your curated layer is ready, you are going to install Tableau server on somewhere, and then you are going to connect your Microsoft SQL Server to Tableau on Amazon platform. So
now Kedar, you know what? Actually, I'm so thrilled. In this last minute or so, you are talking about AWS and cloud and all that, and I am really happy to see you get back technical.
Oh yes.
While I also respect that you how a professional and a strategic person you are. While I know I want to talk on this for many hours and possibly get into further details,
Sure.
but I know time is of constraint, and we have really got to see the thought process behind how you got technical.
Correct.
Could you take a minute or two and tell our viewers some very basic things they should actually think if they wish to get technical? Anybody who is in managerial role,
right,
or have gone rusty in their role and they feel that, hey, I'm not that technical.
Correct.
What are those one or two things you could tell them?
Sure. One important aspect is, first of all, determine. Okay, we keep on thinking, I want to do it. Okay, start. At some point of time, just put your foot first. Okay,
Sure.
Once you put your foot in the doors will open. You will start feeling excited about those things, right? That is important.
Sure.
Take your first step. Once you take your first step, you will start, the things that you had, the enjoyment that you had working on technology. Because when you work on technology, you actually see some results. You immediately see the output.
Sure.
And then you feel that, okay, I did this, I achieved this. So get into that mode. You can get into that mode by actually taking your first step. Start learning some new technology, start doing some small projects, some small assignments yourself. Take help of people like us who can provide you the tech training, who can provide you those small offline projects. So start learning, start practicing, right? Never lose obviously your past knowledge. That's always there. You could be a functional person or you could be a management person, right? Keep that with you. And then start thinking, how can I put these two things together and provide customer what they would want. Many times, because of our strategic and functional knowledge, we can actually guide the customers that this is not what you should expect. Now that you are implementing analytics or data warehousing or some dashboard, don't think like this. Think like that. Use your past knowledge like that. Use your new technology learning, and you will really get a wow from your customers because of that.
Thank you so much, Kedar.
Sure.
You have put in a lot of enthusiasm today and taken all of us back to our career.
Oh, yes.
And we have found out ways to start thinking. Yes. And I think that will help us.
Absolutely.
In the long run.
I would just say, if I could do it, everyone there can do it.
Great. Thank you so much. Thanks,
you.
Kedar. So friends, today we saw how to take that first step. And yes, we all should traverse down our path. And we have done certain phenomenal things, except we forgot to keep ourselves up to date. So today are the times when, as we go ahead in our career, we should also keep ourselves up to date technologically. The methodologies which are followed, we must know that. And then learning is going to be a habit for us, and that will help us go towards the success, and we'll get habitual to that. So keep learning.